Splatoon Raiders is a game that I honestly had no interest in playing simply because I am not a fan of the franchise. I never cared for the franchise, nor have I played any of the other Splatoon mainline entries. However, after seeing the glazing reports of Splatoon Raiders, I decided to give it a shot for myself. And boy, I'm glad I did because Splatoon Raiders honestly blew me away. I didn't expect to enjoy this game as much as I did. So let's get right into it. First and foremost, it's no secret that Splatoon Raiders is obviously catered to a younger audience. It is a family friendly audience. So when it comes to the game's presentation, everything looks quote unquote childish. And that's fine because at the end of the day, art is very subjective, and of course, being a family friendly game, you need to appeal to the children. And the game visually, it does look good from an artistic standpoint, but it doesn't blow your socks off anyway from a technical aspect in terms of presentation. Now, the good thing about this is while it doesn't blow your socks off from a technical side of things, one thing to note is the game runs at a buttery smooth 60 frames per second. Even amidst all of the chaos with all of the enemies, numbers appearing on screen, things blowing up, the game seems to never drop a single frame, and that's great. It applies to both docked and handheld mode, so while the game visually, aesthetically doesn't really stand out, at least in my opinion, it does deliver on the performance side, which is the most important part, especially when it comes to gameplay. Now, in terms of audio, the audio and the sound effects, all of that aspect is really, really good. The one thing that I felt that was disappointing in Splatoon Raiders was the soundtrack. Nothing about the musical score stood out to me, and at a time period when many other games are delivering soundtracks that are winning awards beyond the video game industry space, the soundtrack here was nothing to brag about. It's nothing in lines of like Zelda or Mario. Just there's music, but it didn't impress me any way, shape, or form. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, it needs to be said that Splatoon Raiders, unlike the mainline entries, is a single player or co-op player experience. It is not a PvP experience that you'll find in the mainline entries. This is a co-op or single player experience. Now, the one thing I will say about this game that is a good description of it is it's basically Ratchet and Clank meets Helldivers when it comes to the gameplay. And I mean that with the utmost praise, because everything about Splatoon Raiders from a gameplay perspective is fun. The controls are very simple. The tutorial will go through all the nitty gritty that you need. And the controls feel great. The movement feels great. Shooting feels great. Using your abilities feels great. In terms of a raw gameplay, it is fantastic. And when you're going around and shooting enemies, you'll see your damage numbers. You'll see things explode. And then, of course, you will see loot, and, well, more loot. Essentially, the way the gameplay works is you'll start from your home base, you'll choose a location, load into the location, and basically hunt the treasure that is there and collect the loot. And once you are done, you will then exit the stage and then use what you found to upgrade your character and to proceed to the next stage. That is basically the gist of the entire gameplay loop. But this gameplay loop, while simple in nature, is a blast to play. Raids usually take anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes, so the game is very much good for the pick up and play aspect. You can play, jump in, do a raid, jump out, and be willy-dilly in under 15-20 minutes. It's really great for that. And the loop is very, very addicting because you're always progressing every single time. Every single raid you enter, you are either getting items and gear to make yourself stronger, you are leveling up, and then using your skill points to level up, and then you just rinse and repeat this process. Now, the main campaign, the main story does take roughly about 30 hours-ish to complete, depending on your skill level and how much side activities you choose to do. Once you complete the main story, you will then obviously be greeted with the end game, which allows for more fun and nitty gritty grinding that you would want to do. But overall, in terms of the gameplay loop, it is fun, it's addicting. When you are not in a raid and you are not shooting enemies and collecting loot, you are in your base. Now, at your base, as you progress through the game, you will upgrade your base to unlock new areas within the base that allow you to perform different upgrades. Upgrades such as upgrading your gadgets, upgrading your weapons, creating new perks for your gadgets to then be used in raid. There's a lot more depth to this game that you would realize. Like, despite being family friendly and kid oriented, Splatoon Raiders has a lot going on within the game itself in terms of systems, mechanics, and there's a lot of meat and potatoes for players to sink their teeth into, and that's a good thing. Because jumping in, doing a stage, jumping out, leveling up, rinse and repeating, it's such a simple loop, but it's fun and addicting. Whether you're playing solo or playing with friends, it knocks it out of the park. Now, that being said, this is still a PvE experience, and as such, being a PvE experience, you also have a story. Now, the story mode itself, this is the main story, to me, it is what it is. It's nothing special. Again, with the understanding that the game is designed for kids, it is a family-friendly approach. The story itself was nothing special. It was there. It's basically there to just pull you along in the most basic sense. And this game will not win any awards or be nominated for any story-related content, because at the end of the day, the story is basically there. Now, aside from this, when you are not upgrading your base, when you are not raiding, killing enemies, you are also have access to mini games. There is a mini game within the base itself that allow you to pick up boxes, and those boxes will drop loot that you will need to use. And of course, you will also have the arcade machine that you can unlock for your base, which then grants access to other bonus little mini games for you to partake in. Now, that being said, there's one other aspect about the core combat that I haven't touched on, and that is boss battles. The boss battles in this game, they can be tough. If you are underleveled, if you are not prepared, they can be tough. And while the game does allow you to change your difficulty at any time, even on the standard difficulty, if you're not paying attention, if you're not alert, sometimes it's quite challenging, because the game is very, very chaotic in a good way, because your screen will get filled with a whole bunch of stuff. You're either seeing enemies, you're seeing numbers, you're seeing things blow up, and it's just utter chaos, but in the greatest sense. Now, being a Splatoon game, you have an assortment of weapons that you can choose to kill. You have brushes, you have guns, you have bows and arrows. There's all sorts of weapons, and all those weapons can be upgraded with different perks to further provide your repertoire. Overall, the way I see Splatoon Raiders is a great, great game for both solo players and cooperative, regardless if you're a fan of the Splatoon franchise. You don't need to know anything about Splatoon in order to enjoy this game, as I knew nothing and I had a blast playing it. Quite frankly, Splatoon Raiders is quite possibly in that conversation of being the best Switch 2 first-party title available, and it's something that I think any Switch 2 owner should at the very least try out for themselves, play with a buddy. It's absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend it. I'm giving Splatoon Raiders a 9.5 out of 10. This is Veteran Gamer, and I hope to see you guys next time.